All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here live or catching the replay. I hope you've been enjoying these virtual talks that we're doing right now that we are all indoors. And today I'm so happy because we have our very own member from OsteoStrong, Diane Testa. Diane is an accomplished and passionate heart-centered leadership coach, business consultant, and strategist with a history of working with successful entrepreneurs, executives, and organizations. For the last 10 years, she has helped clients find their dream jobs, start meaningful nonprofits, and create thriving businesses. As a strategist, she likes to take conventional ways of doing things and adding some of her own spice to it. She holds an MA in sociology from DePaul University, is a graduate from Northwestern University, is certified in the Foresight Thinking Profile, and so much more. She is here today to teach us about our own life purpose, which I'm very excited about. So go ahead and take it away, Diane.
All right, Demi, thank you so much for that great introduction, and thank you for hosting this. Thank you, OsteoStrong, as well. And to those of you on this session, thanks for spending your lunch with me. It's a nice day out there. So yeah, life purpose and mission are really big, hot topics, and they have been for the last couple years. And we're often at that point many times in our lives where we're asking the question, why am I here? And why am I here at this time on earth? And now, especially with what we have going on, so it's a really good time to sort of reflect. I believe that each of us has a unique life purpose, and that there is no better time now to figure that out if you haven't already. So for the last 10 years, I've been working with individuals and companies, organizations, on really defining their core values, defining their mission, and then also their vision, and then helping them implement that. So today we're going to identify your core values. We're also going to create a mission statement for you personally and for your life, and then talk about ways to begin integrating it in your life. And actually part of this is I do have a workbook, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that right now into the chat box. You should see it in just a second here. And it just popped up. If you can, click on it and then bring it into your computer or print it, whatever makes most sense. But does everyone have access to this right now? If you can just give me an idea. I see Ernst and Galena, and anyone else listening in. If you don't have access, I'm actually going to read out some of the questions, and really what you need is a place where you can just jot down some notes and write your thoughts. So this is very much an interactive type of workshop where you'll get to participate if you want, and that you would share to the extent that you're comfortable. So I'd like to keep it open to that. And I'm going to have Demi also watch the chat box as well and share any comments or any questions that you have as we're going along. Does that sound good?
Yeah, so really quick, if you guys have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself, or like Diane said, you can type it in the chat box and I'll read it out to her. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, great, thanks. So what I wanted to just start with is just a couple deep breaths to get us grounded. We've all been experiencing busy days and different ways of living and working, and grounding always kind of puts us in that frame of mind to think more reflectively. So I'm just going to ask you just to take a couple deep breaths with me. And if you would, just go to your heart space. This work is heart-centered work. It is not logical or mind space. We're really focused on your true essence and some of the things you've been feeling probably most of your life about your life purpose. And so much of that resides in your heart. And really, your true purpose is to be who you are, that you have your own blend of gifts and talents and passions, ideas, and experiences that are really unique to you. And so, one of the things to walk away with also, as well as your core values and mission, is to really trust that you are enough, that what you came into the world as is enough. And so we're really working at that level of, um, what you're really passionate about and how you put words around that. So with that, let's dive into mission statement. How many of you know what a mission statement is? And go ahead and just put that in the chat box, or go ahead and unmute. We've got a small group today, which is really nice. And, feel free to go ahead and share what your thought is on a mission statement.
Would you say a mission statement is probably like what you stand for?
Yes, I would say that. It is really about the reason you're here, right? Your reason for being. And it's a template of purpose, and it defines direction for you. So when you really embrace your mission, when someone asks you if you can do something or participate in something, or you're thinking about taking a job or starting a new business, if it's not in alignment with who you are and why you're here, then you can touch into that mission and say, no, I know why I'm here. This is not in alignment. I can say no or yes, it is in alignment. I want to move forward with it. So another reason for really looking at and creating that mission is to be very clear as you move forward in life. And so, yes, typically it's one sentence, and it's easily understood by a 12-year-old, and you're able to recite it by memory. So think of it like a roadmap. When you know your mission, it allows you to get up every morning feeling less stress, more focused, and have more intentional living, feeling more fulfilled. And I don't care what you do for a living, sometimes what you do for a living is completely aligned with your mission. Other times your mission is something you carry in your heart, and you'll see that as we work through today what your mission statement is. It is, again, very heart-centered. So so let's take a look at the mission statement workbook. And I just want to get a show of hands or an idea. If you would type in the chat, do you have the worksheet in front of you? Are you able to work with it right now? I can also share my screen if that would help, so that you can see it. Does that make sense?
I did test it. I'm on a computer. It does work, but maybe
Okay.
sharing the screen for those who are on their phones.
I don't think those people on their phones will be able to see it. Should I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah,
And
that's what I mean. Mm-hmm.
let me do that, and then open this up. And then for those of you who can't see it right now, I'm going to put it on my screen, and then you'll see it, and we can kind of go through it together. So I'm doing that. And there we go. Can you all see it now? I'm just going to give you some basics on Zoom. If you guys are new to it, on the right-hand side of your window that is kind of looking at me now, watching this session, there's a chat box. And if you click on that chat, you can actually send a note to everyone, or you can send a note to one person in the list. But that way you can communicate with all of us, or one of us. So, Demi, I can't see the chat box right now because I'm sharing my screen, but is anyone?
Not yet, you're good. If something comes up, I'll say it.
Okay, all right. So can you see the worksheet that I've got in front of me?
Yes.
Okay, and you all have it if you've downloaded it. But we're going to start looking at your gifts and your talents and your experiences. And the first question on this, and I think we'll go through it together, and I'll give you a minute each to sort of reflect on it. And then write it down if you've got it in your worksheet, type it in, whatever's easiest. And then we're going to move through this kind of quickly because we don't have a lot of time, but it's going to give you an idea of some of the questions that I work with and also how to create a mission. So the first question in here around your gifts is really one that asks you to reflect back on when you were young. So what were you like as a child? And so if you think back when your heart and your mind were more open to curiosity and adventure, what were you like in elementary school? And jot down some ideas, thoughts about who you were then. And I'm going to give you a minute to do that. And again, if you'd like to, you can share in the chat some reflections about what you were like in elementary school as a child. Now I'm going to move on to the next question, and you can keep writing some thoughts on what you were like at an early age. But for those of you who are ready, let's move on to the next question, and that's about your talents. So what is it that doesn't feel like work to you? When do you lose track of time? And what brings you true satisfaction and joy? I'd like you to just reflect on that and write some thoughts down about that. Okay, and then lastly, let's take a look at your experiences and think about the people you most admire. And choose one man and possibly one woman you know, or know of. It could be someone, a public figure, um, and list the positive qualities that you're drawn to about this person. So as you're finishing that list up, I'm wondering if anyone knows why I asked this question about the characteristics of the people you most admire and to list those positive qualities. What is it about that question? Why am I asking this? Any thoughts on that?
Probably in regards to aspirations, like characteristics that you would like yourself.
Yes. So, and I'm going to just stop share so I can see you all for a minute. Yeah, Demi, thank you for answering that. It is that to what you aspire, but also to remember and know that you have those characteristics within you. So what you see in others is also within you. And so that's positive, right? And then the things you don't like that you see in others may also be part of your shadow side or a part of you that you don't like to acknowledge. Right now, we're focused on the positives. So, what you see in others is also in you. And so, when you think about it that way, if you go to the next page, what we've just done is sort of set ourselves up for reflecting on, hey, what were we like as kids? Because as kids, we weren't socialized out of the things that we really love and we know about ourselves. It's not until later that we begin to see that, hey, I really like that. Someone said something to me about, you know, why do you want to become a dancer? You're not going to make any money doing that. Or why do you want to be an artist? And all of a sudden it shut down and you moved on to something else without even realizing it. So we reflect on what we were like as a kid, what brought us joy. We look at the things that we really love to do that make us come alive. And then we look at what do we admire in others. And in that reflection, it allows us to get closer to, again, remembering who we are, why we're here, what our core values are, and what our mission is. So if you go to the next page on identifying your core values, I would guess that some of those traits that you saw in others might be some of your own core values, some of the things you aspire to do, and some of the things that you do. So go to that page, and I'll go ahead and share my screen again so you can see that, see what I'm talking about. And that's this section on core values. So what I'd like you to do is think about what are the values that best describe you, and what are the values central to your life that make you great. How you treat others is part of your core values. What you're passionate about is part of your core values. And these are the principles that guide our decision making. So I've created a list of possibilities for you to look at. You might already know what they are, but this is sort of just a reminder of what are some things that, if you can't think of it, that you can look at. And for those of you who can't see this worksheet, the words that are on here are words like truth, integrity, justice, resourcefulness, wisdom, courage, love, hope, relationships, empowerment, consistency, change, beauty, empathy. A lot of words that we would call core values or the principles that we live by. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and take a minute and list out 3 to 5 at the most core values. What are the most meaningful words to you right now? Okay, does everyone have their 3 to 5 core values? or at least 2 or 3 that you think, yes, these are the values. These are the values that guide my life. These are how I want to show up every day. Who would like to share? You can either do that in the chat room on the right, type your answers in, or you can unmute yourself. Our group is big enough or small enough to be able to speak out and share.
I can open it up and hopefully someone will go after me.
That's good.
Or anybody. But from your list that you had there, I actually chose 5 words. And I chose faith, hope, integrity, honesty, and health.
Beautiful, beautiful. Do you have an idea of what those mean to you? Like, I know we're not spending the time right now to define it, but you feel like you have a good understanding of what each one is for you.
Yes.
So at some point you might want to jot that down too, so you have that for a reference, because what those words mean to you are different than what they mean to others. So it just further defines. And do you feel that you live those core values every day, or are you aspiring to those core values?
I think they are all things that I live to every day and just try to get better at every day.
Okay, very good. So we know some days are good and we're right in alignment with those core values and we've totally lived them. And then other days, they're a challenge. You're faced with something so difficult. Say that one of your core values you said was integrity, right? Was that right, Demi? Yeah. And so you're faced with making a decision and really deciding, is this in alignment with integrity? And sometimes in a moment, in a split second, it doesn't always happen, right? We're faced with many different things in life. I think if you wake up every morning and you've got your core values in front of you, in one way or another, you're more likely to live those values and feel good that you have. Who else would like to share their core values with us? Either in the chat.
Mariola, if you just raised your hand, you can unmute yourself and you can talk.
The mute button is in the left-hand corner of your screen, or you can press the space bar and that'll unmute you as well.
I'm actually trying to unmute her and it won't let me. You can type it in the box too.
Can you unmute everyone, Demi? Just to see. Oh, there you go.
Unmuted. Mariola?
Okay, now we lost her. All right. So let's keep going. So what are some of the ways you can live your core values? What are some of the ways you might wake up in the morning and remind yourself of those core values? Anyone?
Did you say what are ways that we can wake up to this every day?
Yeah, to remind yourself of your core values.
Journaling, meditating, thinking about them.
Okay, that's great. I'm wondering if you might write them on a Post-it and put it up in front of you, so when you wake up or when you look at your computer or your phone, you've got it in front of you. In fact, for some of you with an iPhone, you can, or other phones, you can set an alarm to go off, maybe once a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, and have your core values pop up. Type in those values in that alarm and remind yourself of what they are. Even if you wanted to choose 3 to remind yourself of, it's another good way to have those in front of you on a regular basis. If anyone else has any ideas, go ahead and put it in the chat, or please share them. So there might be one core value in your list of core values that really stands out for you. And I would ask you at this point to circle that core value. Demi, is there one that really stands out for you?
For me, I went ahead and circled faith, simply because I think if, at least in my opinion, if you're building like a strong relationship with faith, then I had written down integrity and honesty and health and hope, like that kind of all encompasses in just that one word.
Okay, very good. Very good. So faith is most important to you. And so just hang on to that for now. And for those of you who also chose your one core value, please share it if you want, or type it in the chat, whatever works. So now we're going to move on to the next section, and that is your action verbs. And I'm going to just share my screen again and show you where we're at in the workbook. And that is identifying your action verbs. So these are words that define your unique abilities. So if you take a look, there's a huge list here, but really, what is an action verb? In the sense of, when it comes to mission, you have your core value, but without the action around it, it's meaningless. So we want to add 3 words, or use 3 words that go with faith, for example. Not to be thinking about your core value right now. What I'd like you to do is, if you have that list in front of you, I want you to pick a total of 3 verbs in each column, and then come up with a final ultimate list of 3 verbs. So this is not something that's going to take a lot of time. This is stuff that you are immediately drawn to, words you're immediately drawn to, that you want to use in your life, that represent you and you're also inspired by. So for those of you on the phone, I'm going to just list out what do these words kind of look and sound like. They're words like accomplish, amplify, appreciate, believe, choose, claim, collect, compete, embrace, direct, gather, heal, identify, illuminate, implement, practice, measure, master, motivate, nurture, praise, reclaim, refine, reflect, remember, save, share, support, surrender, touch, translate, validate, value, worship, right. I just kind of picked out a smattering of words. There's a lot of words here, but just to give you an idea of the types of verbs you can use or not, these are examples. So go ahead and pick out your ultimate 3 verbs, but take a look through that list and see which ones most resonate with you right now. The most meaningful, purposeful, and exciting verbs. Take about 30 more seconds. Go with the words that you're drawn to. No thinking here. All right. Who would like to share a couple of the words that they're leaning towards right now, or all three words? What did you come back with? What are those three verbs that you love?
All right, well, feel free to tap in the chat box, everybody, or unmute yourself. I chose accomplish, respect, and encourage.
Nice. How about the rest of you? What are your three verbs? Anyone? So, oh, go ahead, Carmen.
I chose support, love, and communicate.
Nice. Did you have a core value that really stood out for you as well?
Support.
Support. Okay. And the verbs that you chose, support, love, and communicate, is there another word for support, since support is a core value of yours? Like, is there a different action verb?
Communicate.
So you've got love and communicate. Support is a core value for you. What was another action verb that you really liked that you haven't listed yet?
So I have love, communicate, rely.
Rely. Okay. So for now, if you work with support as your core value, and you have the three action verbs love, rely, and communicate, let's work with that. And Demi, we know your three action verbs of accomplish, respect, and encourage, and you've got a core value of faith. Anyone else want to share your action verbs, your core value? Okay, what I'd like you to do is take your three action verbs, and on the next page, on page 4, is line them up. So let me give you an example. We've got Demi's action verbs as accomplish, respect, and encourage, and her core value is faith. So you can put in front of that, my mission is to accomplish, respect, and encourage faith. So if you see where I'm going with this, it's a bit mechanical at first, but if you drop in those three action verbs and then add your core value, you have the beginning of a mission statement. And so, for example, Carmen, if you were to do that as well, my mission is to love, rely, and communicate support. Or you can move those words around, but it's the very beginning of that mission statement. So then from there, you can work with it to make it sound correct, right? To make it sound right and be more of what you are and who you are. And so if you look at later in that workbook, I've got mission statements examples that started exactly the way we're starting them right now. And so for those of you who can't see this, for example, my mission is to create stories of human strength, courage, and inspiration through film. So this person, again, this is a client that just kept working with it to make it make sense. Okay. And they were very specific, that even though he did not work in the film industry, he actually worked in the healthcare industry and as a salesperson, he still felt his mission was this. Another one, my mission is to raise nutritional awareness, inspire dietary change, and improve the health of the nation. Another client, and this is actually what she does for a living. So you can see that your mission may be as simple as what you started to create, or you can refine it further. So there's an example of a CEO of Campbell's Soup Company here. My mission is to serve as a leader, live a balanced life, and apply ethical principles to make a significant difference. You kind of see how it goes, right? So you play with those verbs, you play with that core value. If you feel after a little time that it's not the right core value, go back to that list and pull in the right core value. So essentially, that's how you create a mission statement. And so we've got a couple minutes remaining. And I encourage you to go back and kind of work through this a little bit further and see what you come back with as far as a mission statement, and play with it. Sleep on it, wake up the next morning and work on it a little bit more. And then what you can do is, if you want, share it with others. Ask them, does this represent who you think I am as well? Say it out loud. Does it have heart? You might even want to get a thesaurus and write down as many different words that relate to those keywords in your mission statement. And that will give you an expanded sense of the possibilities of that statement. So you've got the mechanics of it now in front of you. And now it's a matter of refining it. You might think about what groups you want to work with, etc. So I know we're running out of time. I offer this. Demi will share my email address with you if you want to send me your mission statement, and I'll take a look at it. If you want to talk about it further, I'm open to doing that as well and helping you refine it. Okay?
Thank you so much, Diane. This was great. And yes, I will email everybody Diane's information. And thank you for spending some time with us today.
My pleasure. And thank you all for participating.
Thank you.